Hello friends, today we are going deep into Sinners, the 2025 film from Ryan Coogler, director of Creed, Black Panther.
Yeah, that one.
But forget what you think, this is a 1930s Southern Gothic mixed with gangsters, racial tension, blues music, and vampires.
Right. A wild mix.
And Michael B. Jordan is playing twins. So, yeah, let's get into this.
Absolutely. And we're not just going to read the plot points. Today, for you, we really want to dig into what makes Sinners work. We'll look at the technical stuff, the psychology behind it all.
And a specific angle too, right? Something for our kind of audience.
Exactly. A noir angle. I think you'll find it pretty interesting.
Okay, cool. So for this deep dive, we've got some great material. There's this really engaging interview with the cast on Sherry.
Yeah, that was good.
The official trailer, of course, a detailed plot breakdown, the film's Wikipedia page, always useful. A review from Future of the Forest, that was a glowing actually. A Forbes piece talking about its Rotten Tomato score.
Which was super high, right?
Yeah, really high. An article from the Economic Times about production stuff, release details, and then these two other documents. One's a psychological analysis, and the other is this, unique angle specifically for, noir fans.
Right. So the mission, listener, is to get a real 360-degree view of Sinners. Lots of perspectives.
Okay, let's start setting the scene. Clarksdale, Mississippi, October 1932.
Yep. We meet Sammy Moore first. He's a blues musician played by Miles Caton, and his guitar is broken. He's going to see his dad, Jedediah.
Who's a pastor.
Exactly. The dad wants him to give up the music, calls it, sinful. Right away you get that conflict. Art versus, religion or family expectation.
And then the twins arrive. Elijah, who goes by Smoke, and Elias Stack, both Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, it's impressive. They're World War I vets back from Chicago, and they've got this money. It's hinted it's maybe from Al Capone.
Definitely some shady background there, very noir, returning home with secrets.
Totally. And their plan, take this old sawmill, which, by the way, they bought from a guy named Hogwood, supposedly former Klansman.
Oof, okay.
And turn it into a juke joint specifically for the black community in Clarksdale. So you've got the racial tension right there alongside their, let's say, questionable past.
Smoke seems like the muscle, the organizer. He gets help from Grace and Bo Chow.
Legion Lee and Yao, yeah.
And he doesn't mess around. Deals with some robbers trying to steal their liquor pretty definitively. Shoots them, sets a tone.
Yeah, he establishes authority quick. Meanwhile, Stack is focused on the heart of the juke joint, the music. He gets Sammy on board.
The guy with the broken guitar.
The very same. And he hires Cornbread, played by Omar Miller, from a cotton plantation for security. And then to really make it authentic, he lures in this older blues singer, Delta Slim, Delroy Lindo.
Oh, nice casting.
With the promise of Irish beer specifically. It's these little details,
Yeah, paints a picture. And then there's Mary Haley Steinfeld. She's got history with the twins, especially Stack.
Right, a former love interest. And she's upset because they weren't around after her mother died. Her mother was like family to them. And there's this secret, too. Mary's 1/8 black.
Adds another layer. And Sammy, he meets Pearline, Janine Lawson's character. She's married, but there's definitely an interest there. He invites her to the opening.
Lots of simmering tensions.
Yeah.
And Smoke goes to see his estranged wife, Annie, Wunmi Mosaku.
Who's a voodoo practitioner.
Yeah. Their separation is partly tied to losing a child, which is just tragic. Annie actually believes her voodoo is what protected the twins while they were away.
Does Smoke buy it?
He seems hesitant. But there's still a connection. They end up sleeping together. It's complicated.
Okay, so we've got all this human drama, the music, the tension, and then things get weird.
Yeah. Enter Remick, Jack O'Connell. He's an Irish vampire on the run from Choctaw vampire hunters.
Wait, Choctaw vampire hunters? Okay.
Yeah. So Remick needs refuge. He finds this racist couple, Bert and Joan.
Peter Dramanis and Lola Kirk.
Right. He offers them gold to let him stay, but then boom, turns them into vampires. So now he's got a little fledgling coven.
And this all leads towards the juke joint opening.
It does. The place opens, but the twins realize pretty fast they're short on cash. Mary, because of her history and her mixed heritage, gets let in.
And Sammy starts playing.
And how? The description is that his blues is so powerful, it actually starts conjuring the spirits of past black musicians. It's this incredible, almost supernatural moment.
But that kind of power, it attracts attention.
Exactly. It draws Remick and his new vampire pals right to the juke joint. It's fascinating, right? The blues isn't just music, it's a force.
So the vampires show up.
Yeah, pretending they just want to hear the music. But Smoke's got instincts, you know. He's suspicious, turns them away even though they offer money.
But Mary sees the money.
She does. The bar needs cash, so she goes out to talk to them, try and negotiate maybe. But then she sees Remick transform, sees what he really is.
And while this is happening, Cornbread gets lured outside.
Yeah, Bert and Joan use racist taunts to draw him out. Inside, Sammy and Perlon are getting closer. You just feel the danger building everywhere.
So Mary comes back inside, different.
Totally changed. She goes straight for Stack, leads him away. Smoke is dealing with something else, tells Sammy to find Stack, but then goes himself, finds Mary attacking Stack. Smoke shoots Mary, but she doesn't die. Vampire rules, I guess. She just vows revenge. Stack looks dead.
Chaos.
Complete chaos. Smoke and Slim try to get everyone out. Cornbread comes back, but he's turned, tries to get in. Annie sees him, realizes what's happening.
She says they're vampires?
Yes. Cornbread lunges at Smoke, gets shot, but runs off. Annie confirms it. Vampires.
And then Stack.
He gets back up. He's a vampire now, too. Annie manages to repel him for a second with garlic juice, but he escapes. And other people start turning. Bo gets turned. It's just spreading.
And then Remick makes his grand entrance.
With Mary, the now vampire Stack, Bert, Joan, his whole crew. And he drops a bombshell. Hogwood, the guy they bought the sawmill from.
The supposed ex-Klansman.
Not ex. He's the current KKK Grand Dragon.
Yeah.
And he had planned to kill the twins all along.
Wow. Okay.
But Remick says he's not racist. He doesn't care about that. What he wants is Sammy's music. He thinks Sammy's power can conjure the spirits of his lost people. The Irish vampires, presumably.
So it's about the music's power, not race for him.
That's his claim. He even offers them all vampirism, says it's immortality, a way to escape racism forever.
How do they respond?
They refuse, flat out. So Remick resorts to threats. Threatens Grace's daughter, Lisa. That forces a final showdown.
The survivors have to fight back.
Yeah, it gets brutal. Grace makes a huge sacrifice, stakes the turned bow, and sets them both on fire. Delta Slim creates a diversion. Perline dies defending Sammy.
No.
Annie gets bitten. She asks Smoke to stake her before she turns.
Oh, heartbreaking.
It is. And seeing Annie die actually seems to affect Stack and Mary. Like a flicker of their old selves comes through, just for a moment.
But the fight continues. Smoke versus Stack.
Brother against brother, while Sammy takes on Remick. Remick claws Sammy's face pretty badly.
But Sammy wins.
He does. He uses his father's guitar. Turns out part of it is silver, kills Remick with it. Just as the sun starts coming up, Smoke stakes Remick's body for good measure, and the other vampires burn up in the sunlight.
But it's not over. The clan is coming.
Right. Smoke knows it. He tells Sammy he has to get out, escape. Then Smoke stays, confronts Hogwood and the Klansmen.
Takes them all out.
He does. A final bloody stand, but he's mortally wounded in the process. His last moments, he sees visions of Annie and their lost child.
Damn, what a sacrifice.
Yeah. So Sammy makes it back to his father. The pastor again tells him, give up the music.
But Sammy refuses.
Not after everything. He just gets in his car and drives north.
And that's the end.
Almost. There's a post-credits scene. Jumps way ahead to 1992. We see an elderly Sammy and it's blues legend Buddy Guy playing him.
No way. That's awesome.
It really is. And who shows up to visit him? Stack and Mary. They have aged the day, of course.
Still vampires?
Still vampires. Stack explains that Smoke actually speared him that night, but told him to stay far away from Sammy. They offer Sammy immortality one last time.
Does he take it?
Nope. He says he's ready to die. Plays one last song on his guitar, and he says something really poignant, that the night at the juke joint, despite all the horror, the day leading up to it was the best day of his life.
Wow.
And Stack agrees, says it was the last time he saw his brother, the last time he saw the sun, the last time he felt free.
Man, heavy ending.
Okay, let's shift gears. The technical side. This was Coogler's first horror film.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising given how well it seems to blend genres.
Yeah, but he said in an interview he's actually loved scary movies forever. Mentioned his dad loved Rocky, but his second favorite was Halloween, so maybe it's been brewing for a while.
And this is what? His 5th time working with Michael B. Jordan?
5th time. Their relationship sounds incredibly solid. Jordan apparently often just trusts Coogler and signs on, sometimes before even reading the script.
Mm-hmm.
Though he did say the script for Sinners was particularly gripping. Read really fast.
That trust level is something else. What about the other cast? Haley Steinfeld.
She mentioned it was a step outside her comfort zone, but it connected personally because her grandfather was half black, so there was that anchor for her.
And Wunmi Mosaku, she's done horror before, right? Lovecraft Country?
Exactly. She's kind of veteran in that space. Apparently she kept her British accent the whole time, on and off set, just to stay locked into the character of Annie. That's dedication.
And Miles Caton playing Sammy.
His debut.
His debut, yeah?
His film debut, yeah. And reports say he really knocked it out of the park. The whole thing was shot down in New Orleans, April to July 2024. Working title was Grilled Cheese.
Grilled cheese, okay.
Random.
You never know with working titles. But technically, this is where it gets really interesting. They shot on 65mm film.
Whoa. Okay, not digital.
Nope. And a mix of IMAX 15 perf 70mm and Ultra Panavision 70mm. What that means for us watching is the picture aspect ratio actually changes during the movie.
Like sometimes it's super tall, filling the whole IMAX screen, and sometimes it's really wide, panoramic.
Exactly. It shifts between 1.43.1, that tall IMAX ratio, and 2.76.1, that super wide Panavision look. It's pretty rare these days. Very ambitious. You can see why they spent serious money in Louisiana, like $67.6 million.
That kind of ambition probably explains the release date shift too. It was meant for March 25.
Yeah.
Got pushed to April 18th. The reason given was needing more time for post-production, specifically because of working with all that film, IMAX and 65mm. That takes time to get right.
Well, it seems to have paid off critically. The reviews were amazing.
Oh yeah, 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic score of 85. Forbes called it a triumph of cinema, praised Coogler's singular imagination. Really high praise across the board.
And the music must be key. Ludwig Göransson did the score. He works with Coogler a lot.
Yep. Black Panther, Creed, he's back, and apparently he did an amazing job blending original music with actual soul music from the era to create this really authentic 1930s Southern sound. Critics love the score.
Plus the buddy guy cameo as Old Sammy. That adds authenticity too.
For sure. Even Snoop Dogg saw it early and raved about it on Instagram, so it hit a chord with musicians too.
It sounds like it was a really personal project for Coogler, inspired by family.
Yeah, he mentioned his uncle who loved the blues and passed away, and stories from older cousins. He even joked about getting clearance from his family to make it a vampire story.
Huh. And Jordan playing twins must have been a challenge.
He said it was rewarding. Did research on twins, talked to Coogler's own twin friends to get the distinct personalities right for Smoke and Stack. Sounds like everyone was really invested.
Okay, let's dive into the psychological stuff. This film seems packed with symbols.
Definitely. Music, vampirism, racism, they all function on multiple levels, exploring inner conflicts and bigger societal issues.
Like Sammy's journey, it's really about art versus pressure, isn't it?
Absolutely. His blues is his authentic self, you know. The broken guitar could be seen as, well, maybe his initial struggle or even his resistance, and him choosing music in the end, despite everything. That's a powerful act of self-discovery, finding meaning beyond just survival.
And the twins, Smoke and Stack, their brotherhood just fractures completely.
Yeah, it's a really potent exploration of trauma. Smoke trying to hold on to humanity while Stack gets pulled into this vampiric state after he's turned. Their final fight feels almost like mourning in a way. The loss of that connection, the idea that immortality can't fix grief.
What about Annie and her voodoo?
That's fascinating too. It's like her shield against trauma, her way of having some control, maybe. But it also isolates her. And her sacrifice at the end, it raises questions about what spiritual protection really means. Is it love or is it denying grief? Can we really control fate?
And Remick, vampirism is this escape from racism. That's a complex metaphor.
Super complex. He offers this way out, this power, but the cost is, well, humanity. Really taps into historical dilemmas faced by oppressed groups,
Right.
Integrate, resist. What's the price of survival? Is his anti-racism just another form of control?
And the music conjuring spirits.
Yeah, that suggests the blues is like this living archive of culture, of resistance, but it also tracks darkness, right? It shows how engaging with history, even through art, can bring back unresolved pain, unresolved trauma.
It's not simple.
The film leaves you with questions, though.
Oh, definitely. Was Sammy brave to choose a human death, or was he just surrendering? Did Stack and Mary show real humanity when Annie died, meaning vampires aren't totally lost? Was Remick genuinely fighting oppression in his own twisted way, or just exploiting it? Should art be pursued even if it's dangerous? Did Smoke's final vengeance make him like the thing he fought against?
Lots to think about. Freedom versus survival, finding peace versus just escaping the demons temporarily.
Exactly. Which brings us nicely to our specific angle for, this deep dive for the noir fans listening.
Right, the shadow of noir connection. What's the core idea here?
Well, we could frame it like this. The blues as a weapon against racism and vampirism in the segregation era. A story of cultural and supernatural resistance in the 1930s Deep South.
Okay, I like that. So looking at Sinners as noir, but with this supernatural layer.
Precisely.
You see so many classic noir elements. The return home, to a place full of trouble.
The twins coming back from Chicago with that gangster vibe.
Exactly. Characters with shady pasts, moral ambiguity everywhere. The twins' methods, Remick's whole deal.
That atmosphere of danger, like something awful is always about to happen.
Yes. And Mary, she becomes this kind of supernatural femme fatale, right? Leading Stack down a dark path after she's turned. All those noir themes are there. Betrayal, desperation, power corrupting.
Both human power and, vampire power.
Right. And the blues music is central to this noir landscape. It's not just atmosphere.
No, it has actual power in the story, conjures spirits, attracts the vampires.
It becomes a symbol of the community's identity, their resistance against the Klan, against everything trying to crush them. And Sammy, the artist, he's like the reluctant noir hero whose weapon is his music.
There's that psychological noir aspect too, right? The inner demons.
Totally.
Yeah.
Smoke's haunted by his past, Annie by her grief, Sammy's dealing with fear, and the lines blurred between victim and villain when people get turned into vampires. That fatalistic feeling like they're trapped. That's pure noir.
And the ending feels very noir too. Bittersweet.
Yes, survival, but at a huge cost. Sammy gets away, but Smoke is gone. Stack is forever changed. The scars remain, Typical noir resolution in a way.
So for our listeners who love noir, this film poses some really interesting questions through that lens.
Definitely. Like in a world this dark, can you ever really escape your past? Does power, especially supernatural power, always lead to corruption? Can anyone find redemption? And how does adding vampires in this specific historical setting, the Jim Crow South, kind of amplify classic noir themes?
It's a lot to unpack. So wrapping up the deep dive, Sinners is clearly, it's a lot of things. Genre-bending, ambitious.
Yeah, uses that 1930s setting, the horror, the blues to really explore big ideas about racism, identity, fighting back. Technically impressive. Great performances. It just works on many levels.
And for you, our Shadow of Noir listener, hopefully we've shown how it takes those familiar noir ideas and gives them this fresh, compelling twist through the supernatural and that specific brutal historical reality.
It really offers a different look at darkness, at morality. Highly recommended.
Definitely seek it out in theaters, and if you can catch it in IMAX, probably worth it to see those shifting aspect ratios Coogler used.
Yeah, experience that visual ambition.
Okay, so a final thought to leave you with, listener, thinking about that noir angle. In the shadows of sinners, what's the real horror? Is it the vampires? Or is it the darkness in the human heart, magnified by centuries of oppression?
Ooh, good question. Food for thought.